Okay, now let's have some fun with this. At a certain point, we went and got some sound effects. So let me go to the sound effects folder. Let's go get that engine. Let's drop it in here. Right about here it starts to fly. So we need to maybe shorten that sound engine so it starts right about here. Okay, and it crashes. What I'm going to do now is I want a freeze frame of this crash. I want to stop the video right there because we have no more footage and the camera starts moving in that, so I really want this footage to stop here. And to get a still from this, what you could do is you could clip on the export frame and give it a name. Call it plane lands. And choose where you're going to save it. In student builds plane, pictures. I'll choose that folder. Click OK. And let's go back here to pictures. I now need to import that. So I open up the pictures folder because I added a new picture into it. I have to go get it. It's called plane lands. And let me drop that into the timeline now. And so look, the video stops. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. And the reason I got a still of this is because now we are going to go get the video effect. So we have video effect stock footage, and I'm going to get that green screen. Double click on it, get that green screen footage of the explosion. And let's start from right here. I'm going to go in. Okay, and out. And I'm going to drag the video icon and put it on top of the plane. So now I got to click on the green screen footage effect. Go back to the effects tab over here. This is where you get all your special effects. Before I typed volume, let me click X to erase that, and I'm gonna type ultra because the ultra key is the chroma key. If you go under video effects keying, ultra key is one of them. You also have color key, which is sometimes very effective. So let me show you video effects keying, and you have a color key. I quickly to access the key, I knew the name was Ultra key, so I had typed Ultra up here to find it quickly. I'm going to drag that Ultra key on the green screen tab, go to Effect Controls, and you'll notice that the Ultra key was dropped there. So let me delete it, click on it, delete it, and let me drop it back on so you can see it appear. I drop it on the green screen clip, and look, it automatically appears here. I need to take the eyedropper tool and click on green to get rid of the green. Let's see how that looks. Looks perfect. Okay, now I want to get rid of this name here on the green screen file. So I'm going to go to a filter called crop. I just type crop in here, and there it is under video transform effects. Crop. I'm going to drop it on the green screen. You'll notice the crop appears, and if I slide this number over to left, there we go. It crops on the left. Notice if I overslide, look what happens. You can see the effect there. Now let's look at what happens here. Okay, what I want to do is move the explosion on top of the plane. So let's open up the motion tab. Again, I'm clicked on not on the background, but on the clip of the effect, and I'm going to move this up to where the plane is. Right there. See, I'm sliding it up. You can move it right and left. Now let's look at how this looks. Let's go get the explosion. So I'm going to go back to the project tab, go under sound effects, and get the explosion. How does that sound? Okay, let's grab this audio tab, drop it in here, and let's see how this looks. And let's just end the video right there. Let me zoom in on the timeline. Let's bring the plane lands.
On December
Okay, and now you have what was a very plain video with a couple of effects in it. The last little thing I wanted to do is color correct this. It's very dark and it's blue. Now you're doing some very precise corrections. So watch, I'm going to click on the video. I'm going to go back to effects and I'm going to type RGB. RGB. And there's something called Rgb Curves here. I really like this filter. Okay, so here, I click on this clip. I'm going to drop Rgb Curves on it, and you can then drag the whites up to make him brighter. But also, if I reduce the blues, which is kind of like adding yellow, it takes some blue off his skin and add a bit of red. And there we go. It looks a little more realistic. I like that effect. Instead of having to repeat it again and again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this effect and copy it. And now when I come over here to the other effects, I'm going to click on these clips and just Command V, paste to add the same effect with the same parameters on these clips. There we go. And now let's play the full thing. I just noticed that I have my audio tab for the music turned off. Let me start again.
On December 17, 1903, American innovators and aviation pioneers Orville and Wilbur Wright built and flew the world's first successful plane. Today, more than 100 years later, innovators from LCC will attempt to launch their first automated drone made up of styrofoam and other pieces of junk.
So this is called the JA-37 Viggen. It's a design that I found online on a website called Flight Test.
This is still blue and dark. Let's go back to the B-roll footage, copy paste that effect.
Basically, I downloaded it and I built it out of Dollar Tree foam board. So it's basically $1 a sheet, and it's about the size of this wing. And the electronics inside, I have a 5,000 milliamp battery.
Let's click on this B-roll footage piece and copy paste the Rgb Curves effect that we used before.
And a 70 millimeter EDF fan that's powering it with two high-tech 9-gram servos.
Okay. Okay, now you notice there's some dead sound here. There's nothing going on, so maybe we can go get some music and put it back in. Drop that in here.
That's powering it with
when he's finished talking, actually.
two high-tech 9-gram servos.
I drag it over. Okay. We didn't really hear the engine here because the music was too loud. So let's go back to the music tab, go over to volume, and at this point add a keyframe. So the music's loud there. And right about, let's drag this a little earlier and add a second keyframe. So between this keyframe, let me zoom in here. Between this keyframe and this keyframe, the volume here is at full. And by this keyframe, I want it to dip to like -20 so that it fades out completely. Let's see how it looks. And we don't need any more of this audio here, music. So let's drag it until it reaches right there. It ends where the entire video ends.
On December.
So to export this, you click on your timeline. There we go. The whole timeline's in yellow. First off, save your project. Now the project file just remembers all of these pieces and where you put them and which clips you used. That's your project file. If you want to go back and edit it, you open your project file, you get all of these pieces. But if you want to crunch them all into one final video, you go File, Export Media, and I'm going to set this to a YouTube codec, which is H.264. Choose 1080p. Let's go to YouTube. 1080p, 23 frames per second. Give it a name, output name. And remember, put it in the folder that you were working in. So go back to my Student Builds Plane folder and give it a name, LCC Flight, and click Save and click Export, and your video is now complete.